Hi folks, welcome to the inaugural run of how to build software for the Apple Vision Pro using your Mac environment. Hello, my name is Matt Burke and this is probably my 26th hour of owning the Apple Vision Pro. I picked it up yesterday, Saturday, the February 3rd in the afternoon, and been working on it off and on for the weekend. So I thought I'd share a few lessons of what I learned to get started. So the first thing I'm going to do, if you can see on the screen right now, you're looking at XCode, and I want to just pop over and give you a few quick ideas of what you're going to need to get started. So let me just go over here first, and so to get started, I know this is a very lame presentation, but I want to cover a lot of material here to get this under 2 to 3 minutes just to help everybody get started. So while we're here, we want to build these Apple Vision apps, and I like to have any and all collaborations, so feel free to email me at matt, M-A-T-T, or M-A-T-T, at mattgburke.com. That's M-A-T-T-G like guitar, Burke, B-U-R-K-E.com. So what we're going to need to get started, and we'll start with the Mac world, an Apple Mac, which I'm using a MacBook Pro with a silicon processor. If we just go over here to our About This Mac, we can just see what we've got here. Basic low-end specs these days, it's about 2 years old. M1 Max, 32 gig, running Sonoma 14.3. I keep this updated to the newest OS at all times. Then you're going to need Xcode, the 15.2 version, which you can get for free at developer.apple.com. I believe you will need to have a live developer account with your current, not expired developer certificates, and Apple Vision Pro, of course, which I'm wearing as we make this video. So we're going to be flipping back and forth in just a moment. And in case you're curious, this is Xcode. For those that may not have seen it yet, this is Apple's development environment. We're doing a quick about. So you're on 15.2 here. And when I downloaded this recently, I made sure to tick the box for everything, for Watch, iOS, iPad, Mac OS, and of course Vision, so you get all this SDKs together. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to actually talk about going back to our little, what we need to do here. Once we got all Xcode loaded and everything up and running, so you want to be on your Mac with a stable Wi-Fi, and you want to use the same Wi-Fi for both the Mac and the Vision Pro. You can see here I've got mine on Homeowners 5G, and then I mentioned before, make sure you've got your Vision OS components added. So then once that's ready, we need to go ahead and get your Apple Vision Pro ready. So what I'm going to do now is pull down, I'm going to look up in the Vision Pro, and I'm going to get the little Control Center icon, just grab it and pull it down here, and I'm going to click on Control Center. I know you can't see this, but we're going to do mirror my view to my MacBook Pro 3. And you're going to see what I'm seeing appear. And I apologize for any sort of motion sickness. I don't mean to do that, but it's going to be, we're having to learn as we go here, as the saying goes. So what we've got now, I'm going to look up. You can see I've got the Yosemite environment or background running here. This is the screen that I used to mirror my view, and I'll just take you from the top here. I'm going to close the control center. And I look up, and you'll see a little green arrow appear. That, of course, is the control center turn on, or to enable it. And so there you have it. And so we're going to look at, just touching these for just a moment. The first one there is the home button. Will take you to the home page. The second one is environment, which is really cool. You can pick whichever you want to look at here. I've got Yosemite light on. We can do dark, and of course we click that. You can see it dims down to nighttime. Click it back on light, brings it back up. There is a way to turn on the opacity or the see-throughness. I'm reaching up above my right eye. There is a little scroll wheel that you can see. I can turn down the opacity, turn it up. Now it's really bright. Now it's going to be really down and low. You can change your environment, like here is, I think it's Hawaii. In the clouds, it's pretty cool. And then again, we can change it back down so we can see less or more through it. The opacity, change that. It'll play nice ambient background music too. So just pretty handy. So with that being said, if you touch the button again, it's called the crown button. You hit it once, it'll take you to the home screen. Over here, if we hit the apps, I'm sorry, people want to go up here to apps, and then we have basically our desktop. And this is really two desktops. If we slide over to the right, and I'm making a little pinch gesture and trying to actually bring it over like so. And you can see we have our files, our tips, a built-in app called Amaze VR, and then Encounter Dinosaurs, which is absolutely hands down one of my favorite apps I've ever seen. And over here we have our basic app that we've already built, the Map 1 app. And I want to say props to a guy I'll introduce a little bit later who actually did a tutorial on YouTube that I followed to build this before the release of the hardware, because Apple cleverly made it since June where you could build the apps without having the actual headset and run it in a simulator, just like you can build iOS and iPhone apps. So with that being said, I'm going to look over to the side here for just a moment and just check my notes here. And so we've got ourselves started on getting prepped for the actual Apple Vision Pro here. And so one of the first things I did, like any good developer, make sure we had the current iOS. So I'm going to use my hand and pinch and go back in just a moment. So you look at the our settings here. We're going to spend a lot of time in settings to get set up. And so the first thing we want to make sure, of course, is that our Wi-Fi is good and the same as our Mac. So I'm using the pinch gesture. I know you can't see it. It's basically like touching your pointer finger to your thumb. And you can see I've got my ID there, airplane mode. Wi-Fi is the same. Bluetooth, of course, is on. And I'm going to look over to my notes and just verify that I want to take you to where the Vision OS is under General. And it's under Software Update. Your automatic updates are on. And I'm not using beta updates. I'm not quite sure I'm ready to take that leap of faith. But as you can see in the middle, we are on Vision iOS 1.0.2. So we've got our infrastructure good there. So I'm going to look over to the side here and make sure that we are all squared on that. And so the next thing you want to do is make sure you have paired your Apple Vision Pro to your Mac. So the way you do that is pretty straightforward. You're going to go under to General and Remote Devices. So if we go to General, we're just right there. You get squared upon it. And to scroll, you pinch your fingers together and just hold them gently together, and then lift up, raise your hand up towards the ceiling, or pull down, of course. And then we can see we have Remote Devices. I just tap my fingers together, and we have my MacBook Pro listed there. And when you want to set that up on the Mac, I'll show you that in just a minute, but basically you have an option on the Mac inside of XCode to do that. It's under Windows, Devices, and Simulators. So what I'm going to do now, in order to give you the screen back, I'm going to pause for a second and look up and get the Control Center icon back, pull it down, and I'm going to stop mirroring. And so then we're back to our notes here, and hopefully give you a chance to take a break from all of the slight motion up and down, left, right. And so if we scroll over to the Mac into Xcode, if you go under Window and then Devices and Simulators, you'll see we've got it right here. And when you have that screen on the actual Apple Vision Pro showing that remote screen, it will alert the Mac that, hey, there's wishing to be paired. And you can hit plus and right down here, or it may actually automatically have it. It'll say pair, and you can click that, and then I've already done it. And so this is all set to go, but it'll basically say pair, and you just click that, and it'll take care of that. And then once you're paired up, you can actually go ahead and take screenshots of what's going on. So if I do a screenshot, it'll actually take a snap of what's happening inside the goggles. Of course, we're looking at my Mac now, and it gets a little confusing. But that will get you set up there so you can take snaps as you do your development process. So now we've got ourselves straightened out that we can now let the Xcode environment know we've got a real live device, which is ready to go there. So let me go ahead and move on to the next step and talk about getting the source code ready to run on the Mac. And so we're just going to change our screens back over to the Mac side here and make sure we close this out. And I'm having to read through the goggles. It's not that bad, but it just takes getting used to. So this code is already compiled. Thanks again to Zach, who I got this off of YouTube. I just basically typed it in as I learned it. I hit play, we can just run it. And so we can only run this target. So what we want to hear, my mistake is that I want to go ahead and make sure I'm going to start out by running it on the simulator. So we can do like that, because you want to make sure to compile, build, run on the sim first. And of course you hit the play button. This is old hat for most people that have built it on the world, and build succeeded. And then it will bring up the sim in just a moment, and we'll be able to see what happens. I don't know if you can hear that in the audio. It was a normal Apple hello bong. And what the app is supposed to do is just bring up different 3D objects and let them be displayed in free space. And then there is a dismiss button. And that's basically about it. It'll take you back. Very simple Hello World app, but of course a great way to start. So I'm going to close the simulator now. Just exit out of that. And we're back, and now when we want to run it on the Apple Vision Pro, we're just going to go ahead and change this. You notice the goggles are kind of a gray. We want to run it on the device itself, and they'll be black, like dark sunglasses. So we'll just click that, and then we're ready to go ahead and run it. So I'm going to go ahead and start the app running here. Build succeeded. Now I'm going to have to change the display so you can see what's happening back on the inside the world of the Apple Vision Pro goggles. So I'm going to look up, waiting for the little control center icon to turn up. Sometimes it takes its sweet time to appear. And now it's happening in the goggles itself, but I need to go ahead and wait for the Apple control center to show up. So let me look over here to the left and look up. This is one of the, I guess, drawbacks of the OS. Sometimes the control center just takes its sweet time. So I'm actually going to go ahead and close a few things and move some stuff out of the way. I know you can't see it while I get this to happen. And we'll go ahead and let the sound come out through the headphones. And so what you can see is that we are back, and we've actually got a twofer. We've got the full screen plus what's on the Mac screen itself. And so what I'm going to go ahead and do now is look up, and you can see where we are. So I'm going to go ahead and close these out, close the control center out, and if you move over, that app is available. So you can click that. Now it's running in real time. So I'm going to go ahead and open Model View 1, and that brings out the stereo gramophone, and it looks great in the glasses. And then I'm going to do View 2, which is over on the left, just doing the finger touch thing to make that happen. And it's going to bring up another item, and wait for it to come along. It's retrieving it off the internet. It's another 3D image of a coffee pot, teapot, and there it is. So I'm going to go ahead and dismiss that, and I'm looking with my eyes to change the focus, like that. Dismiss that, and dismiss the other one. And so we'll go ahead and close that out like that. I'm just looking at the little round dot next to the horizontal line. The horizontal line, of course, is move the app around, allows you just to grab it and move it wherever. And then, of course, we'll do it to the dot to close it. So the app is now closed. And, of course, we can always drag and come back to our left-hand desktop versus the right-hand desktop. So that's that to get your app running. So, again, it's all about getting your XCode set up to see that under Windows devices, to see your goggles that you've turned on and set those up under remote, and make sure you're on the same Wi-Fi, and that will get you started. And I will try to make a more condensed video later on, but this is our first pass. Oh, and one last thing here, just as an outro, this is the Dinosaur app, and let me just go ahead and let you just see the beginning of it. I don't want to spoil the whole thing, but just the beginning of it is just truly amazing. You see the butterfly on top of the letter T. It's going to come over and fly over and alight upon my hand. Like so. And if I could not feel it touching, if I could feel it touching, it would be absolutely legit. So it's just an amazing piece of hardware, software. Props to Apple. This is bringing the capacity to bring 3D creation to everybody. All right, well, next video is coming in a couple of days as I work through learning how to code and program this device. All the best.